In the Pursuit of Truth. Dao Li, Episode 6, Chapter 3, Patriotism, Part 2. Just as the Chinese thought that they finally had found the solution, here came Marxism, brought to China by the salvos of the 1917 Russian Revolution. This created a new excitement as well as new confusion. Marxism was described as a theory encompassing all the treasures of the Western culture. The founders' volumes of Das Kapital that few could understand certainly added to its mystery. In spite of all that, Marxism was still foreign goods, and only when the imported theory was put on a Chinese identity, Mao Zedong thought, did it become really acceptable to the Chinese. Nationalism reigned, even under the banner of communism. Marxism, as it was presented to the Chinese public, was supposed to be superior and invincible, but talk was cheap, and the new social system had to show some concrete results economically to prove it. This was exactly what Mao wanted to demonstrate by starting yet another campaign, a mass movement of Big Leap Forward in 1958. The slogan was to catch up with Great Britain in its major industry output in 15 years. The goal was aggressive yet achievable, but the economic campaign quickly escalated into a political frenzy. JL and his classmates gathered to talk about this, and DR was there, at first just listening. The air was filled with excitement as DR recalled. Now, the official goal is to double the steel production this year. Last year was 5.35 million tons, so we have to make 10.7 million tons this year. Is this possible? For 1 year, maybe, JL said. But the key is to keep a rapid pace for many years. DR was in his childhood naivety trying to make his own sense of it. He began to insert his thought. Even if we double the steel output every year, it will take 5 years to reach the present level of U.S. production. In his mind, a few years were an eternity. Your math is pretty good, but you have little patience. One of the senior students looked at DR, smiling. That would be impossible, JL concluded. In the outside world, as the furnaces fired and the blowers blasted on almost every piece of available public land, the whole city became a giant steel mill. Iron gates in the neighborhood were dismantled, and any other conceivable non-essential objects made of iron were collected and melted. That was how China doubled the production of steel in 1958. In the ensuing 3 years, policy errors and the terrible weather combined put China into a long and unbearable misery. The steel production remained stagnant for many years. In Shanghai, grain, oil, sugar, meat, and eggs were rationed to the bare minimum. People suffered from malnutrition, and the young city dwellers had a taste of what hunger was like. All necessary supplies became much scarcer and terribly expensive. Learning what was going on in China, DR's uncle and aunt living overseas, sending food packed in large rattan baskets. The so-called 3 years of natural disaster from 1959 to 1962 were actually the outcome of a gigantic policy failure, which even the elementary school child could see. This was the first lesson the boy DR learned, that utopian ultra-left zeal actually could do more harm than good. By 1962, just as the supply of food began to restore to the pre-disaster level, a major debate between the Chinese and the Soviet Communist Party broke out. The debate was supposed to be about ideological issues, how to interpret and practice the theory of Marxism. But the centerpiece of the argument quickly turned into who truly represented Marxism, Mao or Khrushchev. This made for an easy decision for all Chinese, communists or not, because it turned the attention into a national position more than an ideological preference. Chinese people already had enough of blindly following the Soviet big brother. While the majority of the country was in starvation, China had to send their quality food to the Soviets to repay the debt incurred during the Korean War. Khrushchev did not show much charisma to win respect either. The editorials of Pravda were lackluster and boring, and were refuted and ridiculed ruthlessly by the Chinese media. In 1964, China succeeded in its first nuclear test, ending the dominance of the Soviets in the communist world. A national pride was permeating the whole country. But feeling good was only temporary if most people were malnourished, if they had to squeeze the whole family into a 15 square meter room, and if they had no better transportation than the crowded old buses. Gradually, the international prestige of China ran hollow in the hearts and minds of the Chinese citizens. It was already 15 years into the new regime. The country was still so poor, because the people were so poor, and above all, the peasants that constitute the vast majority of the population were in destitute conditions. Murmuring became louder, and the sentiment seemed to be ripe that it was imperative to find a way to make the economy work again. But the hope came crashing down a few years later when the Cultural Revolution was launched. Only this time, the new campaign had nothing to do with national pride or foreign aggression, but everything to do with the control of power and the struggles within. What is the difference between nationalism and patriotism? DR asked. Nationalism is to let people feel good about the country. Patriotism is to understand how to make the country truly great for the interest of its people, JL replied. In addition to the actual consequences of communism, its theoretical contradiction have also aroused the thinking of young DR. Please continue to listen to the follow-up Chapter 4, doubts. Thank you for listening, subscribing, and liking.